Alright, the other day I watched Legion. I've watched it a few times before, and it still stands as one of the most wild and unhinged movies I've ever watched, so obviously, I'm making a video on it. The movie opens up with a man hitting the pavement. He gets up, and we see he has a collar on his neck. He runs to hide behind a bin, takes his top off, and from the shadow off the wall, you can see he has wings. He then takes a knife and cuts the wings off, which depowers him and the collar pops off. We cut to a security guard in a warehouse doing his job, when out of nowhere, the man from the alleyway drops in like Batman and takes the guard out. He runs to the bathroom and grabs some supplies to stitch up his wound from his wings. He then breaks into a container and starts loading up, grabbing hella guns. He then leaves, blowing the door open right in front of two cops, and he walks out like a badass. They tell him to drop the bags, but there's chatter on the radio and he tells them it's already started.
It started.
Whatever that means. One of the officers try to cuff him, but he takes his gun and holds him hostage. Then the other officer starts tweaking out until he looks like a possessed shark boy. We learn that the dude with the wings is Michael, and the possessed cop tells Michael that if he's not following orders, he'll get packed up along with the child. This will all make sense soon. He then shoots at Michael, but he dives out the way and puts two in him. He then takes the cop car and dips out, and we see all the lights going out in the city. We then cut to a man named Jeep waking up from a nightmare. He steps outside where we see he lives behind a diner and is greeted by Charlie, who's super pregnant. Charlie is a soon-to-be single mom, and Jeep is that, "Don't worry babe, I'll take care of you" kind of guy. You know what I mean? He'd bow and kiss her feet if she asked. We then cut to the diner midday and we meet a few more characters. Bob, who's the owner and Jeep's father. Percy, who's the cook and has a hook for a hand. Then there's a couple at a table waiting for their car to be fixed. Howard and his wife Sandra, who's disgusted by how her daughter Audrey dresses.
How can she go out in public looking like that?
Parenting issue. We then cut to a man named Kyle driving. He realizes he's lost, so he pulls up to the diner and we see Charlie smoking a cigarette. Mind you, she's pregnant as fuck.
You know, that shit ain't really good for the baby.
The phone booth outside is down, but Charlie tells Kyle there's a phone inside he could use. He walks in and asks to use the phone, and Howard asks if their car is almost done because it's been almost 2 hours already. Bob goes to see what's the holdup and finds Jeep working on a baby crib instead of working. Bob tells him to get his shit together, and then he comes in and tells the couple that the car's almost done. He then fixes the TV and sees there's an emergency broadcast, and outside, Jeep sees a massive cloud of something heading this way. They all kind of freak out, wondering what's going on, and can't call for help because the phone's cut out. But they figure it's probably no big deal. Just then, a car pulls up. An old lady gets out and steps into the diner. She sits down with this creepy ass look on her face. She orders a steak and then starts talking to Sandra. Sandra asks her if she's heard anything about what's going on with the emergency broadcast, and the old lady just says, "Don't worry, it'll all be over soon." Alright. Charlie brings out the lady's steak, but before she walks away, the old lady asks about the baby and the father. And Charlie tells her the father's out of sight, out of mind. Then the lady says, "What about the baby? It's gonna burn."
What?
And Charlie's like, "Yo, the f did you say?"
Your f***ing baby's gonna burn.
The lady then starts talking shit to Howard's wife, so Howard walks over there, but the lady dives on him and bites him in the neck. Percy hurls a skillet at her face and she eats it no problem. She then fucking jumps onto the wall and starts crawling like Spider-Man. Bob tries shooting her down, but his aim is garbage. She then drops down and one taps him into next week. Jeep then grabs the gun, and she pulls up on him all casual, and then starts skidding towards him, but he doesn't blast her because he's a little dork and doesn't have the nuts to do so. But luckily, Kyle puts two in her and drops her. Things went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Howard is cooked if he doesn't get help, so they all get in Kyle's car and start heading to the nearest hospital. While driving, they notice the cloud, but they just keep her pushing. They get to the clouds and find out the hard way, it's actually a bunch of flies and they get absolutely swarmed. They pop a U and get back to the diner to take shelter, and once the flies pass, they take old Granny outside wrapped up and dump her. In the distance, they see another car coming. The man who steps out is Michael, who we saw earlier. He takes the gun from Bob and explains they don't have much time to be goofing around because more people like Granny are going to be coming. He gives the gun back and then pops the trunk and gets everyone strapped up. They then all head inside and start boarding everything up and waiting. But while waiting, the power goes out on them, so they head up to the roof. In the distance, they hear an ice cream truck. The ice cream truck pulls up and out steps this creepy dude. He doesn't seem too bad at first, but then his limbs start stretching out and he runs at them all crazy, but gets put down pretty quickly and easily. Then in the distance, a bunch more cars start pulling up to the scene, so they start lighting them up. They're doing a good job at stopping them and keeping them at bay, and Kyle uses a rocket launcher to blow one up, but eventually there's too many of them, and they step out and start walking towards the diner. Why aren't they just sprinting to the diner? I don't know. But the boys reload and start firing again. But one crashes through the window, grabs Howard, and tries dragging him away. They try to grab Howard and save him, but eventually he's pulled away. Yeah, he's definitely cooked. Kyle drops in and goes Rambo to stop more from coming in, and the rest of the possessed start to slowly retreat, so it looks like they're in the clear for now. Kyle takes his time to drop the lore on what's going on. Alright, future me dropping in real quick. This guy is Michael. I don't know why the fuck I keep saying Kyle. This guy is Kyle, not this guy. Not even the same skin color, bro. I don't know how I kept fucking that up. Anyways, back to the video. Basically, God lost hope in humanity, and so he sent all these possessed people to take everyone out. But they're not demons, they're actually angels. He also says he was an angel, but didn't agree with God, so he switched sides, and he's here to protect Charlie because her baby is the key to saving the world. Kyle also tells them that this first attack was just a test, and the next one's the real deal. They all kind of just chill out and do their own thing while waiting for the next wave to come, and we get a flashback of Michael talking to another angel, Gabriel. It shows how Michael disagreed with his decision, but Gabriel was ready to do anything for God. And when I saw this dude Gabriel, I was like, he looks real familiar. Turns out, Buddy was the Blob in X-Men Origins. Anyways, Bob, who's supposed to be keeping watch, falls asleep, and Sandra hears someone yelling. She takes a gander out the window and sees Howard strung up outside. It's like the most obvious trap ever. She starts moving the barriers to try to get outside. Kyle tries to stop her, but he can't, so she runs out there to save him, but Percy grabs her at the last second, and Howard pops like a balloon and shoots acid onto Percy's back, which packs him up. Nice one, Sandra. Good job. They tie her up so she can't do some dumb shit again, and then she starts disrespecting her daughter, telling her this is all her fault. Good job again, Sandra, really making us root for you. Later on, while Audrey's messing with the radio, she finally catches something. They hear someone saying a militia has formed and started to take out some of the infected people. Another militia is formed in Red Ridge, which is apparently only an hour from where they are. They want to go, but Michael tells them it's too dangerous. We then cut to Jeep talking to Charlie a little later on. Charlie tells Jeep how she never even wanted this baby, and she starts crying about how she has it so hard. Mind you, she's been doing this the whole movie. It was mad annoying. But this time Jeep snaps and is like, get over it and quit feeling sorry for yourself. There we go, Jeep, grew you a pair. We cut to Audrey and Kyle on the roof just chilling, and the power randomly turns back on. We then see a car pulling up again. This time, it's just a regular dude with his son. It's a trap. The possessed pull up and trap them in. The dad tries to get back in the car but gets absolutely plowed, and then the possessed grab the kid. Prepare for a terrible horror movie decision. Kyle jumps from the roof and tries to Jason Bourne this shit and save the day. Howard tries to get outside to help him, but Michael's the only smart one here and tells him not to. I will give credit, Kyle does actually manage to get to the kid, but guess what? Now he's cornered with no ammo, and guess what again? The kid's now possessed. Kyle's cooked. But Audrey wants to get in on these dumb decisions too, so she runs over to try and save Kyle, but runs out of ammo pretty quickly. So she hops in the car and locks the door. Inside, Charlie tells Michael that if he doesn't go out there and save her, she will. And Michael can't have that, so he loads up, walks outside on some Frank Castle shit, and just goes ham on everyone. Dual wielding the pistols on him and everything. He gets to the car and shoots some gasoline to burn him and then saves Audrey. But bad news, the little possessed kid got in the diner, and he goes after Charlie. She uses a pan to block him and then punch him through the goalpost, but then the lights go out. And you can hear this kid running around like Chucky. It's terrifying. He then jumps on Bob, but Michael gets him off and they do what they gotta do. Then Charlie's baby starts coming, so Michael starts helping with that. And while he does that, we hear some loud horn ringing outside, and we see the possessed are just standing there now. The baby gets delivered safely, but we see someone flying around the diner. Michael says the possessed can't come near the child, so they sent someone who can, Gabriel. Michael says it's all good though, everyone just needs to leave while he holds him off. But Sandra breaks out of her restraints and grabs the baby, saying that she'll just cough up the baby because that's what they want, and they'll all be good. Great job again, Sandra, but that's not how that works. As she's backing up, the door busts open, Michael domes her, Jeep catches the baby, and Gabriel walks in looking like a fully feathered beast. He swings at Jeep, but Jeep moves just in time and runs away. Bob tries taking him on, but this guy's wings are bulletproof, and he one-taps Bob with his wings before backhanding him into next week. It's not looking good, gang, I'm gonna keep it a stack. Michael tells Jeep to dip out, find the prophet, and learn how to read the instructions. Whatever that means. Jeep, Charlie, and Audrey leave with the baby and are able to get to the car completely untouched. And back at the diner, Michael tries convincing Gabriel to let this go and join him to save the world. And it almost works, but Gabriel pushes him off and they start scrapping. Michael tries shooting, but the wings deflect everything. He dodges a spike ball thing, dodges the wings, lands a juicer, and then flips over his wings and tries blasting him again, but gets teep kicked into the wall. They continue fighting for a while, and this low-key stains Gabriel's record because Michael has no powers anymore, and this fight's pretty equal, so that's kind of embarrassing for him. Gabriel eventually catches him with his wings, but this doesn't stop him. Michael hits him with a sidekick, takes his back, and locks up the rear naked choke. Gabriel flies into the ceiling, but Michael holds on, but he then grabs his spike ball thing and sends one through his shoulder and into Michael's chest, which packs him up, and he's sent away. But before he can go after the others, he walks over to find Bob still alive. He's filled the place up with gas and lights the lighter, which blows the place up. We cut to Jeep and the crew driving away, and Jeep notices the instructions Michael was talking about are forming on his arm like the tattoos from Far Cry 3. Absolutely goated game, by the way. Out of nowhere, Gabriel dives onto the car and starts trying to break in. Jeep fires at him, which knocks him off, and Audrey domes him with a flare gun, but he holds on. So Jeep speeds up the car and then slams the brakes, which sends Gabriel flying, but also flips the car a dozen times. Zero chance any of them survive, right? Wrong. All of them but Audrey somehow survived this. Makes absolutely zero sense at all, but whatever. They get out and start trying to get out of there. They climb this cliff, but when at the top, Jeep looks over and sees Gabriel busting ass over to them. He one-taps Jeep with a nice juicer that puts him out. Charlie tries running but reaches a dead end. Gabriel tells her to just give up the child. Don't know why he stops to talk instead of just packing him up and finishing the mission, but whatever. As he's doing this, Jeep jumps onto his back and they fall off the cliff. Gabriel smacks the ground and then knocks Jeep off of him, but before he can finish the job, he stops to talk again.
There's nowhere to run!
And out of nowhere, Michael comes back. This time with his wings fully feathered and looking good. He says God basically realized that Michael was right, so he brought him back. Gabriel then charges at him and gets one-tapped with ease, but Michael doesn't finish the job. He spares Gabriel's life and lets him fly away. Michael basically tells Jeep he's got to hold down the fort on his own, and then he just dips out. But he probably shoulda, coulda, woulda stayed to help, but, whatever. Jeep finds Charlie, and then they dip out and ride off into the sunset together to raise the baby and save the world, I guess. So yeah, that's Legion. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also let me know what videos you guys want to see next. But that's all I've got for you guys today, so I'll see you in the next one.